City won the treble, but Riyad Mahrez is leaving anyway. Welcome back to another video. I was live about 20 minutes ago. Unfortunately, my internet decided to kill the live stream, unfortunately. But I've reset the router. All is good. And looks like Manchester City are about to reset their squad as well. What a link. What a link. That'll do. Yeah, it looks like Riyad Mahrez is actually going. City are going to need a new winger. The reports have come from your man, David Ornstein. It said, exclusive, Al-Ahli have reached total agreement with Manchester City to sign Riyad Mahrez in a deal worth €30 million plus €5 million add-on. So around 30 million quid. 32-year-old Algerian international set to have medical on Thursday before signing a 3-year contract and a conditional fourth. So basically, Mahrez has basically all but left Manchester City Football Club. We need a winger. It's really as simple as that. And let's see what cheeky Ferran, Pep, Omar Berardi and all these people come up now, because Riyad Mahrez is an absolutely huge loss for Manchester City Football Club, and we cannot pretend otherwise. It doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. This has been muted now for about a month or so, and it makes an awful lot of sense as well for the Saudi regime to go in for someone like Riyad Mahrez. Of course, a really, really high-profile Muslim player, probably one of the highest profile in world football. He'll be an absolute superstar out there, and it is sorted the end of an era for Riyad Mahrez in European football, and it's a massive shame. I can't deny that. Like, Mahrez is one of the best wingers in the Premier League, and has been for an awful long time now. Former, obviously, Player of the Year winner in the Premier League. He's been absolutely astonishingly good. Absolutely ridiculous when you look at his time in the Premier League and Manchester City Football Club. How many seasons? 5 seasons at Manchester City, which he won. How many? I mean, I'll go and look at his trophy record at City. It's pretty impressive. Here we go. He's won a Premier League, of course, at Leicester. He's got 5 Premier Leagues in general. Won at Leicester, 4 at Manchester City, a Champions League, of course, at Man City, 2 FA Cups, 3 Carabao Cups, and a Community Shield, as well as the African Cup of Nations in 2019, African Football of the Year 2016, BBC African Football of the Year. He's PFA Players Player of the Year 2015-16, Team of the Year 2015-16, Player of the Year for the Fans Player of the Year 2015-16. Look, he's done so many wonderful things. He's been Man City Player of the Month multiple times. He's got a hell of a career, basically. And now he's set to leave European football after a pretty distinguished and esteemed career at Manchester City Football Club, which saw 78 goals in 236 games, according to Wikipedia. Yeah, we can't deny that this is a massive loss for Manchester City Football Club. It is. It absolutely is. I mean, it comes, of course, off the back of the tour squad announcements, which I discussed in the previous video, and I'll go through that in a little bit more detail in a bit, now that the stream's working nice and actually steadily. But Mahrez, he's the kind of player that you can't not replace. Riyad Mahrez is an elite level winger. There's no two ways about it. Mahrez is guaranteed goals, guaranteed assists, guaranteed technical ability, and understanding of how Manchester City play football. His ball retention is excellent. His cutting edge in big games is excellent. But it feels like, unfortunately, the writing's been on the wall now for a few reasons. Obviously, Guardiola really led towards the industry of Bernardo Silva out wide during the Champions League running and the Premier League running in particular. And you have to understand it, Not many players, though, would score a hat-trick in the FA Cup then get dropped for the next game. But that was the life that Riyad Mahrez was living. And that must have sort of doubted his integrity a little bit. You can't, not be affronted by that a little bit. Not that he never remained professional, of course he did, but it's felt for a long time now that Mahrez was basically the backup to Bernardo. Even Foden came on ahead of him at times, and you could almost see in his face. And it's because it's pride, we all have it, but you could see it in his face in the Premier League parade, and you could see it during the Champions League that you could tell he wanted to be on the pitch, and you could tell he didn't feel as involved as maybe he should have been. And the thing is, for me, is like you get to this point of your career and you see everyone playing, and then you get offered the money that he's going to get over there. I understand it. It felt like this was coming probably a year earlier than I expected. But let's be honest, Riyad Mahrez does turn 33 during this season. He's 32 years old now. At some point, we are going to have to move on from him, and it wasn't now. It'd be 12 months from now. So the way I see it is a more positive spin, I see it in a more positive light. It's going to be a hell of a job to replace him. I cannot deny that. But I would rather Guardiola have a year or two longer with his replacement, so that when Guardiola walks off into the sunset in a year or two, maybe a couple of years, maybe hopefully 3 or 4 years, the Mahrez replacement is very much integrated in it and fully aware of the life at Manchester City and how you're meant to play. So I basically want Guardiola to have hands on time with his replacement, be it a senior player, be it some of the youth players. Obviously, Oscar Bob, McAtee, Palmer, all on the tour, the pre-season tour, which I'll get onto in a bit once again. But we have got an issue now. You cannot lose someone like Riyad Mahrez, which is goals and assists guaranteed, and not replace him. You have to replace someone like Riyad Mahrez. He's just too good. He's too senior. He's too experienced. He's too reliable. And he's always available. That's the thing about Mahrez. Like, he doesn't get injured. He's always there. He's liked and respected amongst his colleagues and so on, and that to me is really important. You have to have a good harmony in the squad, and we are going to see maybe a few players leave, and I'll bring up the squad, of course, that's travelled there, and you see obviously a few more players that potentially could go. Cancelo, Laporte, Walker, Bernardo highlighted as well there, of course. I don't know who's going to go, but when you potentially lose some of that seniority too, with Gundogan and Mahrez going, look, City are going to be in a state of transition. There is a state of flux in this squad, and you have to respect that this is going to be an awful lot of work for Guardiola to try and get that mentality going again. If anyone can, it's Guardiola, and I do believe that injections of hunger are needed, especially after you've won a treble, by the way. It's really weird that there's not many things more demotivating than extreme success. That is sort of an oxymoron. I understand that. But once you've climbed to the highest peak, so many people go up out Everest and never do it again for obvious reasons. You've been there, you've done it. It was really hard. You've got the photo and you're sort of happy then. And the hunger to do that again, especially under the same circumstances, it's just not there always. And life is the biggest, experience is often the biggest demotivator. And once you've achieved stuff, it takes a special kind of personality to want to do it again. And I understand why some players will be looking around going, yeah, I fancy something else now. What more can I... Because even I feel that as a fan. I don't know how some of you guys feel. But for me, there's definitely a sense of City have sort of completed football. I know we haven't, and I'll be there. When we play Burnley, I'll be there getting emotionally invested in it again. But right now, I feel supremely relaxed about football because we've done it. And some of the players were like, "Oh, we've done it." And when you feel like you've done it, you feel like you completed it. And when you feel like you completed something, you look for the next thing. And sometimes the next thing has to be something drastically new to get you going again. And I think Guardiola's smart enough to know that. I hate to mention this, but you got to look at Ferguson at United. He was a master of ripping up that squad at its most successful and starting again. He got rid of big name players because he understood when players took their eye off the ball and their head was elsewhere. And if Walker wants to go, he's done. If Cancelo wants to go or Bernardo wants to go, a lot of their brain is gone. I mean, you might get back into it again, but the first sign of lack of focus is asking to go or staring elsewhere. Their heads are drifting, They're looking at the grass and thinking it's green and on the other side, and at that point, let them be themselves. Trust their integrity, especially the ones who've been here for an awful long time now. Like Walker, for example, 2017 he joined, It's been 6 years. And it's been an awful lot of success. And eventually, at that age, you understand it. So when Mahrez moving on, it's part of the cycle of football. And we're going to have to accept that. That he's going to need a new challenge. And we're going to need a replacement. Now, of course, there's been some links today to certain players over on the aggregators as well. I think... Here's the training photos, by the way. They've just dropped. I just noticed that during this live video. Grealish there. I got the Maya Salahi top here down here. Oh, this is the pre-match shirt as well, the training kit. Which one is it? There you go. I've got my shirt down there as well. You've got, of course, Grealish and Haaland. Yeah, Ruben Diaz. That photo makes him look grey. It definitely isn't grey. Nathan Ake. Calvin Phillips looking lean, looking keen and ready to go. Then you've got as well, there's the new man, Kovacic. Kovacic chatting to Ortega. Ortega's good, getting to know people, isn't he? I love that Gundogan and Ortega are dead close, and now it's these two are dead close. But he begins. There's Guardiola. Who's that? Kovacic, I think that is, isn't it? It's Kovacic, yeah. Sergio Gomez in the background there, hanging around. And there's Pep Guardiola in season 8 at Manchester City, by the way. So basically, yeah. But then you see, obviously, certain players linked, like Rafinha's linked to Manchester City earlier. That's an interesting one, Rafinha. I don't know how I feel about Rafinha, personally. I weirdly just trust... I know it sounds basic, but I just sort of trust the club. Like, I actually think Rafinha's a good player. I think Guardiola would cook with him. I really do. He's not Riyad Mahrez, but Rafinha can beat a man. Rafinha is Premier League proven, to be fair to him. Rafinha has done pretty well at Barcelona, to be fair. He's got good stats over there. He wouldn't be my first choice either, but would I think he'd offer something different? I do actually like the fact that he's a right-footed winger who would go around the outside, if you know what I mean. He's not an inverted one, which would offer a little bit of variety. I think he's a bit underrated too, DDD. I agree with that, actually. I think he's got a lot of quality. And the one thing I would say is that Rafinha plays for Brazil, and the expectations playing for Brazil are extremely high. If he's been relatively successful in Brazil and Barcelona, I mean, there's not many... he's left-footed. God, he's left-footed. I swear... No, I'm so sorry. I'm absolutely... I'm talking nonsense there. Ignore me. I've just mixed up entirely wrong there. So I must have watched an inverted video or something like that. I'm talking absolute nonsense, but he is... Right, yeah, anyway. But either way, like, he's done really well, obviously, in the Premier League with Leeds. He's a regular for Brazil. Leeds fans loved him, but I know you've got the Calvin Phillips situation, which sort of muddies it. But then at the same time, you've got a good success rate at Barcelona, you know, and I do think he'd do all right under Man City. But I guess the big question is now anyway, is like, can we replace Riyad Mahrez? Who do you want to see come in? It's going to be interesting to see how we adapt with this, but... At the same time, you know, Vinay just pointed out, Barca still owes 40 million. You know, they do owe us a lot of money for Ferran Torres still. Maybe, just maybe, maybe we just say to them, just give us Rafinha, call it even there, and maybe that's how we'll go for it. Mohammed A with a super chat saying, would you have Rafinha or Sane? Mate, I'm a romantic. I'd have Sane back in a heartbeat. I know there's some question marks about Sane at one point, but I love that man, you know. I think he'd be excellent for Manchester City, and I would love to see him back in the first team. I can't deny it. I think he'd be absolutely excellent, mate. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciated. He's quality, mate. Absolute quality. Either way, it's all change. I can't wait to these preseason games. I think they're going to be interesting and exciting. I can't wait to see how Bob and McAtee get on, and Peroni as well. They should be really exciting additions to this first team squad if they get some game time. And I do like the idea of, you know, them hanging around. I just do. But guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll do more videos, of course, tomorrow and so on. For now, though, I'm going to help the wife get the little Ruben's dinner ready, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Mahrez, end of an era, unfortunately so, but City won the treble.